Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera anda menonton Agenda Awani khas. Saya sekarang berada di Tanah Jawa, di selatan Jawa Tengah, 25 km lebih kurang dari Yogyakarta. Di belakang itu adalah Gunung Berapi Purba. Kawasan ini namanya Langgaran. Dulu dilanda gempa bumi. Hampir 90% lebih rumahnya musnah. Anak-anak muda membinanya kembali, menjadikannya eko pariwisata ataupun eko pelancongan. Tapi itu cerita untuk kemudian. Saya berada di sini kerana ASEAN ingin berpadu, belajar daripada sesama sendiri, melihat kepada akar umbi, membina keupayaan dari situ. Dan industri yang difokuskan kali ini oleh pertubuhan ASEAN adalah tentang kelapa. Oleh itu saya ingin mengenalkan teman baru saya yang saya berjumpa di sini, Kalu. Kalu berasal daripada organisasi ataupun bertugas di organisasi bernama Prisma. Prisma ini melihat kepada bagaimana untuk meningkatkan atau mempromosikan pendapatan petani di kawasan luar ataupun masyarakat luar bandar dengan memberikan bantuan kepada pemasaran dalam bidang pertanian. Paul, I've just given a lengthy description about you, all good things. But I was explaining how you're from Prisma, and from what I understand, Prisma looks at how to promote or increase income of people in the rural areas through especially using the platform of agricultural marketing or markets. So can you in essence maybe in 2 paragraphs explain to us what exactly does that mean? And currently it's just in Indonesia, especially in the eastern side of Indonesia.
Yes, you're right. So first of all, we work in eastern Indonesia, East Java province, Entebbe, NTT, Papua and West Papua, those 5 provinces, although we're soon to expand to Central Java. And when I say we work in, we actually don't do the work on the ground ourselves. We work through companies. They are our partners. They are the ones who either have products that they sell to farmers or want to sell to farmers, or products that they want to buy from farmers, but they're having difficulty in reaching that market. So we come and help them approach that market, either how to rebrand, repackage, market their product at poor farmers, and show them the way farmers want that product, or why maybe even farmers don't even know they want the product yet, but show them that there is a potential market there, and if they only fine-tune their approach, they can reach them. Or if they're buying products, again, show them how there is an opportunity there. Farmers may be scattered, but if you target them the right way, you can get the product in enough quantity and at the right quality as well. So those are generally what we do, but through working all those through those private sector partners.
Many governments around the world, especially the developing nations, they want to do this. But what's the difference between an outfit like Prisma, which I understand works with at least 3 other sister outfits under this joint partnership initiative between the Indonesian and the Australian government? Why can't it happen naturally? Sort of you guys coming in and intervening, having interventions from your grassroots experience. If you can tell me from that.
Well, if I knew why it doesn't happen naturally, then I could cure cancer. It is very obvious, it's very logical. Why it doesn't happen, I can't say. A lot of what we do is tantamount to management consulting. So if you think of a company, I don't know, maker of your watch, they want to make a new line of watches or digital watches or something. They get a market research company, a management consulting company to go out, do the research, find out what size do people want, what colors, what features and all of that before they launch their products. That's what we're doing as well. We're just showing them that this is what poor farmers want. So look at your market, study your market and fine-tune your product accordingly. Many companies around the world, not unique to Indonesia, just don't see poor farmers as a target market. So they don't even bother making a tool or a product aimed at them. And that's what we're trying to do, is show them that yes, they might be a poor market, but they're not a small market. And over time, the volume and value of products that they could buy from you is actually worth that investment in the research and so on.
The word inclusivity, the word equitable economy, all this comes into play. Because in the capitalistic system, capital will be rewarded. But of course, poor people won't have capital, but they have labor and they have maybe land to till. So how do you see the balance there? Because even Prisma cannot work alone, because when I look at your sister organization, Safira, they look at VCF or value chain financing, which might be a complex term for many people at the grassroots. Well, what that essentially means is, if you go to a commercial bank, you probably not get a cent from them because of the things that you do not have, or even for the things that you have, to them it's murky, it's not clear, and everything else. So if you can give us, the reason I asked why before is maybe this is an area or group of people, even though they are a majority, but they're not commercially viable. In the modern world, they're not interestingly profitable in that sense.
No, definitely. I think, again, poor communities are marginalized from a lot of services that we take for granted in urban areas. And a bank wouldn't traditionally want to go and lend to a farmer because what assets can he provide? But thankfully now in this digital era, it isn't so much about that. People can show some sort of track record if they, for instance, have financial transactions on their phone or have some sort of digital exchange of data, finances, they can show that to the bank and show that as some sort of proof of their financial viability. Yes, they might have land and so on, but very often that raises other issues of who really owns the land. Is it communal land or is it private land? But if you can bypass that and just go straight to what is their actual credit history, and if you can see that through some sort of online system of financial digital payments, you can, as a bank, you can at least start to think of how you can make a product for them.
It's also about, to be fair for the banks and financial institutions, it's about mitigating risk, because they need to maintain a profit line and stuff. However, now from this 2-day exchange visit alone, we've been hearing about access to capital again from the grassroots. We've been hearing how now they've got to go up the value chain, meaning from just planting and selling commodity, they've got to go higher, which means they've got to make some produce. And to make some produce is also taking more risk, because they are also extending themselves to do that. Where do you stand in this? Because sometimes it's not easy for a simple life person in a simple life area to think complexly about all these things, not because they are not clever, but because that's not just their life.
Yes. No, you're right. But again, that's where facilitating these linkages between the people who could produce the products and the people who want to buy the products. So the presentation as well today from the Tokopedia gentleman, for instance, showed that I could just be sitting in my room at home and making something and selling. I don't need to have a factory and the whole infrastructure that goes with it. So yes, it's a bit of a stretch, but likewise, rural farmers could be easily contacted. I could be sitting in a flat in Jakarta and I could contact a farmer. Well, I don't know where the farmer is based because it's online, right? But effectively, I'm contacting a farmer in Papua saying, I want this product. Do you have it? And yes. And so those linkages can help bridge that gap.
Interesting you brought up the point, because Rifki's, that's from the Tokopedia guy, presentation also, he put dotted things on the map of Indonesia, and the ones that's dark are the ones where you are in.
Exactly.
So digital economy is good, but it only exacerbates sometimes the gaps already.
It has to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere. And obviously Java is highly populated, wealthier, better connected, better digital connectivity. So of course the bulk of their trades and transactions, I think it said something like 60% happen within Java Island alone. Whereas when you go out to Eastern Indonesia where we work, and it's no coincidence we work there, people are poorer, populations are sparser, access to digital economy or digital services is lower. It's not absent altogether. I mean, you can still get online, but maybe people don't have the tools to get online. They don't have smartphones and all the little technology that goes to supporting that. But it's changing, and it's changing very fast. Even if Java is as popular as it is today, that's 9 years. In 9 years that they've grown that business that much in Java. So give it another 9 years and you'd see the same things happening in Eastern India.
And they've said that the growth rate outside Java is higher.
Yeah.
However, that also brings to mind, you, in your presentation, put it that, look, the problem of trying to make the farmers become better at their products or with their yield is sometimes just in their minds. Because if they don't see a need to replant, for example, because the coconut trees outside their house, and we look at the statistics, says between what 5 to 20 trees per villager or house, a village house. So maybe the trees was planted by their grandfather, so they don't see a need to change it. So how do you work this? This is the adage of, you know, bringing a horse to water kind of thing.
It is bringing a horse to water, and this is a constant conundrum that we face in the world of development, because we see a poor farmer and we say, oh, they need development, they need to do this. But does the poor farmer feel that? Do they feel? Are they really dissatisfied with their situation? It's a big philosophical question that you can argue from all angles. The man resting under the coconut tree all day because he's finished his fishing that morning. He doesn't need to do any more work, and then somebody else comes along and tells him, oh, but you could go and fish more so that you can buy more and get more boats and grow your business, so that I can do what? So that I can rest under a coconut tree all day. Thank you, I'm already doing that. So yes, it's a very fine balance between helping farmers and having farmers that want to be helped.
Regulations also play a role. Sometimes we think that, you know, governments want to help, but like if the certification of seedlings for coconut have to be from a certified parent tree, for example, can you please share? I thought that was one of the more interesting part of your discussion, because I never knew that.
Yes, it's a huge bottleneck. You need millions and millions of seedlings a year, which need to come from X number of trees, but those trees themselves have to be seen, vetted, approved, certified by somebody from a government office. That means they have to physically go there and do the necessary checking and registration. So that immediately creates a huge bottleneck. And of course, the government institution that has to do that has limited capacity itself. It can't go to all these plantations all the time, or as much as it should. So there's a natural bottleneck, and that means these seedlings can't come into the market, which means farmers can't buy them.
You showed where hybrid, seeds or, you know, even other species, it's just about this tall, and that's better. Yeah, the dwarf species. But it's not just at the input level where you are intervening with your organization. You're also looking at the produce. Can you please explain more about that?
Yes, so like I said, we work through private companies, we don't do it ourselves. So it really is what are the private companies interested in. So we've worked with one company that buys, processes, packages and exports coconut sugar, another company that does similar with virgin coconut oil, and another company that produces crude coconut oil, the one for frying, but more for the domestic market. So all those companies, they need the product, and they need it a certain quality at a certain time, with certain regularity. So by bringing them to the market, introducing them to the farmers and the communities, helping them transcend. I mean, sometimes the farmers need some sort of education and training on what they should be doing to get the product to the right quantity and quality. So we do all of that for them, all that sort of facilitation, so that they can continue to buy the product.
It's about training, exposure, but it's also about the collective good. Maybe one household or two households alone is braving, you know, a mainstream current against them. But the cooperative system, are you for those kind of movements here?
Definitely for it. I mean, anything that works for the individual. If they want to do it as an individual, they want to do it as a cooperative, that's their own choice. I'm not condemning that in any way. In fact, in some cases, it makes the work of the company coming in a lot easier if I can deal with one cooperative of 1,000 people rather than 1,000 individual sellers to me. That's a lot more convenient. So yes, if that's what works for the farmers and what works for the off-taker, the person buying the products, then why not?
Can you give us an example of, because rather than selling a fresh coconut that might be what, at most 10 cents US dollar per a piece of a fruit, you know, compared to selling it as a virgin coconut oil. But that will take capital and that will take stringent process. Now we hear more and more that if you were to do VCO, you have to certify it organic, then you have a better market, for example. But that takes a lot of effort also.
Well, that's if you want to export. Most of the export markets require some sort of certified organic product. And so farmers themselves in their own homes can produce VCO themselves, but the organic process requires more than just the trees themselves in the farm to be certified, but the actual production, where the production is taking place, the facility, the equipment, even the vehicle transporting the liquid at the end also has to have been proven to not have carried some other contaminant or the other. So it makes it very difficult for a household to do that. It has to then be done in a factory. So in that case, the farmers, in the case of the organic coconut oil, have to then sell just the nuts to the factory, and it's the factory that turns it into virgin coconut oil.
I want to go to the last slide that you have where you put the word thank you. There was a picture of a man standing in like a makeshift standing place right on top. I mean, I was born near the paddy fields, and you know, the coconut trees that my grandfather planted is about 20 meters high. So where was that and what was the story?
To be honest, I borrowed that slide from another colleague. I think it was from the Philippines, not even from Indonesia. But yes, the problem exists all over the place. That these older trees are really tall, really difficult to climb. And if you're especially making coconut sugar, you've got to climb up each tree and tap it, which means you go up, you come down, you go up another one, you come down, you go up another one, you come down, and then you repeat that process that same day. So in that case, it was quite ingenious in that they basically tied trunks to each tree to make a sort of a bridge, a gangway, and they could go up one tree and walk along to the next and walk along to the next and harvest collect their sap that way. So yeah, kudos to that guy.
It's interesting when you put people, multiple stakeholders from a region, and for this ASEAN one, we have many countries. But some people are worried that one country will overtake the other. Some people are worried about the prices will come down. What's your take? Because you know the deputy minister earlier talked about if we can have one ASEAN product, then maybe we can push to a higher market in the global platform.
I mean, I cannot argue against free market economics. If you've got the competitive advantage in a product, run with it. If I've got a competitive advantage in my product, I'll run with it. And that doesn't mean that we will always stay like that. The rules could change at any one point in time. So yeah, competition is good.
But knowledge transfer is important, and today we have seen that ourselves, where people are looking at what this country is doing. Hey, I can do that, or I can share this with you. Do you think that collective will for this region at least, because like Borneo is shared by 3 countries. You know, if one nation was just trying the transportation system, the distance itself, but if you work collectively, regional or otherwise.
I have not worked in Asia long enough to answer this with any certainty. I've only been here about 3 years, but before this I worked in Africa for about 20 years, and I can tell you that the desire to share knowledge and information in Asia is a lot stronger than it is in Africa. In Africa, more countries are more inclined to talk about sharing than to actually act on it, whereas here I've seen a lot more effort to act on those thoughts. So yeah.
The target was 300,000 farmers or villagers. Okay.
Farmers.
And they were supposed to increase their income by 30%.
At least 30%.
At least 30%. And this is the last year that target must be achieved. So how is it so far?
We've passed the target.
So what was the secret of success, and how far beyond the target that you achieved?
I was the secret to success. No. Perseverance, working. I mean, it wasn't easy. This was across not just coconut. This was across 20 commodities. But yes, the best or the most successful areas we worked in is when we had a partner that was ready to go the whole haul. Some partners, you come in, they say, "Oh yes, it sounds very interesting," and then they don't even return your phone call the next time you call them. Whereas in the successful cases, farmers, these companies have taken our advice, done things, they've even come up with some solutions themselves, anything to get their product out there to farmers, get farmers aware of their product, buying their product, using their product, and benefiting from their product, so much so that those same farmers are the ones recommending it to their neighbors and so on, and that's how you get to your target.
Congratulations. So it can be done.
Oh, no, you can, yes, you can, definitely.
Can you share with us, because you've been down on the ground for a few years now in Indonesia, is there one story that inspires you when you look at it and the change that happened the moment they're given this platform and this matching?
Definitely. So one of the sectors I work in besides coconut is pigs. That is actually one that has generated the largest result for us within the whole program. Many people don't think of Indonesia, or you think of Indonesia as a Muslim country, so you don't think of it as a pork-producing country. But actually, when you go to the east of Indonesia, there's a very large non-Muslim population, and pigs are a very strong part of the culture. And most households would raise pigs, one or two pigs at a time, and they do so feeding them kitchen scraps and fodder from the farms around, banana trunks and all of that. We worked with feed companies that produce complete feed, and told them that, listen, there is a big market out there for your products in eastern Indonesia. So we showed them how to get their product out there, how to even package it smaller so that farmers could afford the smaller packages because they couldn't afford the big 50 kg sacks, how to brand it, how to go into the market and get people aware of the product and so on. And as a result, we now have something in the region of about 100,000 farmers using feed products to raise their pigs. And because of that, when they were used to use the fodder, it would take them 5-6 hours a day to prepare the food for the pigs. Now it takes them only 30 minutes. They find that they can raise more pigs at a time. So from raising 1 or 2 pigs a year, farmers are raising 5 or 6 pigs a time within a 6-month period. So they can do 5 or 6 months, another 5 or 6 in that same year. So actually 10 to 12 pigs in 1 year. So farmers' incomes in that case has gone up by 400 to 700%. From their income from pigs compared to what it was.
So that's straight away out of poverty, if they were in poverty.
Definitely. It's spread like wildfire, literally.
Those who cannot send their kids to school now can do.
They are sending. I have so many anecdotal stories from especially female farmers, because pigs are generally seen as the domain of the female in the household, the female head of the household. And yes, they are using that money to send their kids to school, to upgrade their housing, to do all sorts of things, yes.
It's also gender empowerment. Your colleague from Safira said that, I mean, women, and we've seen that in microcredit lending across many countries. Do you testify to that too? Women are the more diligent ones?
Definitely. Even the presentation from Tokopedia also showed that women are really leading the way in terms of these sort of small run-from-home businesses. So yes, they might have been overlooked as formal commercial businesses or business owners, but they're just as equally able of doing something enterprising, yes.
So what's in it for the future? You know, in organization, you hit 300,000, so now they want you to do 1 million. Yes. And I don't see the map of my country there, Malaysia, because this is a test case for ASEAN, and this is being discussed on the ASEAN Secretariat level. So maybe the same model could be replicated across all the ASEAN countries?
In theory, yes. I mean, I don't know which donor would go to Malaysia to do it, because many donors will look at Malaysia as a developed or a middle income country, so that they can't really justify to their taxpayers base that, oh, they've got to go and support this. Even the UK struggles, the UK government struggles to justify giving any support to India, because British taxpayers think if India can send a robot to the moon, why do they need our help to alleviate poverty? They think of India as one country, when actually it's a collection of hundreds and hundreds of countries. Exactly. So yes, I don't know which country would see Malaysia as a place to support financially as a donor. But that doesn't mean Malaysian companies themselves can't apply some of this approach. In fact, to mention the pigs again, one of the companies we're working with is a Malaysian company, Malindo, that's had this success out here. In fact, because of the success they've had, one particular agent who sells their product has done such a great job, they've taken him to Malaysia, to their factory in Kuala Lumpur, to see that as a reward for his success. So there's nothing to stop that company taking that model and applying it over there. It doesn't have to be donor driven.
You're positive that even the poorest part of the world, with all the pressing problems of climate change, oil prices going up, whatever, there are ways, and if only we concentrate and give them empowerment.
Yes, definitely. There's hope everywhere. I think now there's a lot more globalization thanks to all this digital economy, like I've said. So farmers in the back of beyond, up a mountain in Papua, can actually call somebody and say, right, I want to buy whatever it is you're selling. I saw it, or you've got an SMS about it, or I have something to sell. So yes, it's increasingly possible for people to get their products out there, be a part of the global economy.
Thank you so much, Paul. I only know Kanu before, the footballer from Nigeria. Now I know Kalu. Itu tadi adalah temu bual dengan seorang individu yang cukup menarik bekerja untuk memastikan bahawa mereka yang paling termiskin di kawasan luar bandar di Indonesia mendapat pembelaan dengan memadankan pasaran kepada permintaan. Dengarnya mudah, tapi itulah yang dilakukan oleh Prisma. Banyak cabarannya, anda boleh Google sendiri. Dan ini adalah Agenda Awani. Anda sedang menyaksikan episod khas yang dirakamkan sempena dengan pertukaran kerjasama lawatan ASEAN. Terima kasih kepada Yayasan ASEAN, dan saya berada di Jawa Tengah, di belah selatan, di Purworejo, dekat dengan Yogyakarta.